We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Qatar says Israel-Hamas truce to begin on Friday, 7 a.m. local time. 13 hostages to be released in the evening. Every possible effort being made to save 41 labourers trapped in tunnel in India's Uttarakhand. Till now, drilling has been done up to 46.8 metres. In sports, India beats Australia in the first T20 international of the 5-match series by 2 wickets. And on to details now. The much-awaited truce between Israel and Hamas will begin at 7 a.m. local time on Friday, with the first batch of hostages to be released at 4 p.m. The Qatar-mediated truce will apply to both north and south of Gaza. The first group of hostages to be released would be 13 women and children. As per the agreement, 50 hostages will be released in total across 4 days in exchange for a pause in fighting and the release of 150 Palestinians currently held in Israeli jails. A significant increase in aid allowed into Gaza also forms part of the agreement. Well, Israelis in Tel Aviv said they were happy a 4-day truce would begin between Israel and Hamas and hostages would be released from Gaza. They're hopeful that all hostages will be freed soon.
I just want to see the children come back. We want all of them to come back. But the first group of children will start breathing again, I think.
Well, I'm happy that the hostages, or some of them at least, are going to be released. Hopefully everyone will, and this is the only thing that I care about at this very moment. I think all other things will be resolved later. It's not something that we don't think about, but we really need the hostages back now.
We are more than happy to hear this news. We are very happy with any hostages that are going to be released. We are still waiting to see Omer's name in one of these lists. We are waiting for him.
And UNRWA Chief Philip Lazzarini said the long-awaited 4-day pause in fighting will provide an opportunity to reach people in need, including in the north, and to start repairing civilian infrastructure. Lazzarini reiterates his call for a long-standing humanitarian ceasefire and says UNRWA is ready to receive more than 150 trucks of aid per day. Also, Israeli army on Thursday released a video showing weapons and other materials found from Gaza's Jabalia area. Israeli commanders appear on the footage saying they found a tunnel shaft in a mosque and missiles of different sizes in the urban area.
Here, next to residential houses, we found all these missiles, long and medium ranges missiles, which are aimed from the civilian area towards the state of Israel. We entered the area and found missiles next to the mosque, very large missiles. They made it clear that terrorist activity was taking place inside the mosque and inside the urban area.
Also, Israel has said, meanwhile, achieving control over the northern half of the Gaza will mark only the first stage in the Israeli campaign to destroy Hamas. Army spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said that Israel will focus on planning and fulfilling the next stages of the war in the coming days.
Control over northern Gaza is the first step of a long war. We are preparing for the next stages. We are looking forward in the coming days. We will focus on planning and fulfilling the next stages of the war. When the lull in fighting goes into effect, our forces will be stationed at the ceasefire line inside the Gaza Strip. I want to emphasize inside the Gaza Strip, and they will also move along these lines that were agreed upon in the agreement.
And at least 5 people, including 3 young children, were attacked in a stabbing incident at Irish capital Dublin on Thursday. Prime Minister Leo Varadkar said that police had detained a suspect. As per the police, 1 girl sustained serious injuries while the other 2 children are being treated for less serious injuries. Police further added that the other 2 are also being treated for serious injuries. And clash between protesters and riot police also broke out in Dublin following the knife attack. Police in riot gear pushed back protesters near the scene of the stabbing. A police car and double-decker bus were burnt out and windows smashed at a nearby hotel and restaurant. People said that the man attacked a number of people on Dublin's Parnell Square but was stopped from causing any further harm as members of the public intervened at an early stage of the attack. Well, while speaking to the media, Ireland's police chief said he had not ruled out any motive in relation to a stabbing in Dublin, including whether it could be terror-related. And Madagascar is set to announce preliminary results of its presidential election on November 24th or 25th. The country's incumbent president, Andry Rajoelina, is on course for re-election in a vote marked by low turnout and an opposition boycott. DD India's Isaac Lucando has more.
The looming announcement of preliminary results in Madagascar's presidential election has the Indian Ocean island on edge. Alleged irregularities and low voter turnout are already tainting the possible re-election of President Andry Rajoelina. By Wednesday evening, the National Electoral Commission had declared that Rajoelina secured 60% of the votes, with 68% of polling stations having announced their results. These results put him on course for a third term as leader of the island's 28 million people. However, 10 out of 13 candidates in the election have already declared that they will not support Rajoelina's possible election. Allegations of his acquisition of French citizenship in 2014, a factor for disqualification, contributed to many of them boycotting the elections. Rajoelina, a former DJ and mayor of the capital, Antananarivo, served as the president of a provisional government in Madagascar for 5 years before later being elected president in 2019. Isaac Lucando in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
And news from around the world. Fires in the world's largest wetland located in the western Brazil have killed hundreds of animals, affecting the biome's natural balance. Most of the dead animals found by the group were reptiles and amphibians. The fires, which were caused by high temperatures, low humidity and a large amount of organic matter, were brought under control. The number of fires in Pantanal broke the record for the month since monitoring began in 1998, data from Space Research Agency showed. Venice will start testing a daily admission fee and cap on visitor access to its famous canals from next April. The move is aimed at managing the flow of tourists on spring bank holidays and some summer weekends. The restrictions will apply from 8:30 to 1600 local time, initially for a total of 29 days, and cover most weekends from April 25th to mid-July next year. Restrictions will not apply to the lagoon's smaller islands such as Murano. Macy's annual Thanksgiving parade ushered in the holiday season in New York. Beloved characters like Snoopy and SpongeBob SquarePants soared through the skies while bands marched along the streets. The parade kicked off at Manhattan's Upper West Side and Central Bank and ended outside Macy's Herald Square on 34th Street. Altogether, 25 balloons and 31 floats took to the streets in the festive celebration that also included appearances by Cher and perennial parade star Santa Claus. A painting made of ST rice in the Mekong Delta province of Sok Trang has set a Vietnam record for the biggest of its kind. The Provincial Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism held a ceremony to announce the record and kick off the 5th Food Street Festival. The painting, measuring 4 into 7 meters, was the result of 30 days of hard work by 10 artisans. The festival will last until November 27th, with 34 booths by businesses and artisans in and outside Sok Trang. And far-right populist Geert Wilders sent a warning shot to mainstream parties across Europe ahead of European Parliament elections next June. DD India, Trent Murray reports.
While the initial surprise and shock at Geert Wilders' election win in the Netherlands may just be starting to subside, there is still intense focus now on whether him and his Freedom Party can form a coalition government and ultimately lead the Netherlands. Now, for 25 years, this is a politician who has really been on the fringes of mainstream politics. He has not been a huge electoral force in the Netherlands, but that all changed on election night with those results showing that he won 37 seats in the 150-seat parliament. Now, that was by far the largest vote share. His closest rival was a centre-left Green group who won 25 seats. And so it really does put him now in the box position to try and form a coalition government. But it will not be easy. Many other political parties are very opposed to him and his party and what he represents. By all stretches, his policies are quite extreme for Europe. His policies include halting all asylum and immigration to the Netherlands. His platform includes a banning of mosques and Islamic schools. He's suggested that the Netherlands could have a Brexit-style vote on pulling it out of the European Union, and he is also a supporter of ending military support for Ukraine. These are all positions which really do not square well with the majority of the Dutch electorate. So even though he won the most number of seats on that night, trying to find political friends, if you will, to join him in a coalition government will remain difficult. But nevertheless, he says he does intend to govern, and he has had negotiations over the past 24 hours to try and gain some of those political friends. The other outcome that we could see, that we are watching for, is effectively all of his opponents, all of the other political parties from the mainstream, putting aside their ideological differences, coming together to form a grand coalition in order to try and block him from power. But that, of course, too, comes with its risks. It could backfire with the electorate. Given that he did place first, many in the Netherlands will expect that he should be the front runner to lead the country. Trent Murray for DD India, Berlin.
Well, moving on, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said the country's recent launch of a Tuesday spy satellite was an exercise of its right to self-defense as Pyongyang celebrated the event. The North state-run television released several still photographs of Kim visiting the National Aerospace Technology Administration to applaud space scientists and technicians. Kim also hosted a reception to celebrate the launch on Thursday. Kim said Tuesday's launch was an eye-opening event in the face of the dangerous and aggressive moves of the hostile forces. And French President Emmanuel Macron inaugurated on Thursday a major investment of 2.1 billion euros by Danish pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk in France. The investment will be based in Chartres, west of Paris. Novo, known for its hugely popular anti-obesity drug Wegovy, produces insulins in France. Macron praised the attractiveness of France as a major destination for foreign investments, thanks to a string of laws passed by the government on labour and taxation, including unpopular ones.
Over the last few years, we have worked very hard together. It's the fruit of all these reforms, of what has been brought by the economic fabric to all Frenchmen and women in the factories, their businesses all over the territory. But we have got some catching up to do, and even a bit more, thanks to the ordinances and laws passed on the Labour 2017-2018. We have regained a flexibility that also make it easier to create jobs and that recreates attractiveness through our reforms, including, I reassure you, the most unpopular reforms.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. We are keen to with COP28 summit that begins in UAE from November 30th, and what will it focus on? Well, you'll have to shell more euros for your Venice vacation. Stay with us to know why. And Indian badminton stars earn laurels at China Masters as they progress to the quarter-final of the tournament.
Recent conflicts, wars and calamities have displaced millions of people worldwide. Will this migrant situation lead to a global socio-economic crisis? Watch Connecting the Dots at these times only on DD India.
A platform for the developing world, amplifying the voice of the Global South with a focus on the growing economies, resolving the conflicts, showcasing the culture, tradition, heritage and diversity. Watch Voice of the Global South at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on. Business hire Daniel Noboa was sworn in as Ecuador's new president on Thursday. Ecuador's youngest ever president, Daniel Noboa, pledges to reduce violence and create jobs via urgent legislative reforms. Noboa, 35, won an October runoff in the South American country, which is facing deep economic challenges and spiking violence that reached an unprecedented crescendo with the murder of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio. Noboa will serve as president for just 17 months, finishing predecessor Guillermo Lasso's term after the latter brought forward elections to avoid likely impeachment.
To fight violence, we must fight unemployment. The country needs jobs. And to create them, I will send urgent reforms to the Assembly, which should be treated with responsibility and by putting the country first.
Well, Ecuador's newly inaugurated President Daniel Noboa appointed his new cabinet on Thursday after his swearing-in ceremony. President Noboa appointed 26-year-old Said Frischti Naranjo, who is the youngest member of his cabinet in the Ministry of Environment. Noboa won an October runoff and will serve as president for just 17 months, finishing predecessor Guillermo Lasso's term after the latter brought forward elections to avoid likely impeachment. And it is Black Friday in the U.S., the day when Americans believe still full-form Thanksgiving turkey kick off their holiday gift buying. It's often one of the busiest shopping days of the year, and retailers offer steep discounts to compete for consumers. But as Tori Waterman explains, there is a dark cloud hanging over this year's shopping bonanza.
Black Friday is synonymous with deals in the U.S. You can often get the latest electronics, appliances, clothing, you name it, for 40, 50, even 60% off regular prices, which is why it has always been one of, if not the busiest shopping days of the year. The National Retail Federation, which is the largest retail trade group in the U.S., says more than 180 million people are planning to shop over the Thanksgiving holiday, and the vast majority of them are doing that today on Black Friday. And those consumers are expected to spend slightly more money than they did last year, but the growth of that spend is slowing, which has businesses worried. Many big-name retailers, including electronics giant Best Buy, upscale department store Nordstrom, and Abercrombie & Fitch, have all issued lackluster fourth-quarter forecasts. The common concern, the economy. Despite a solid jobs market and low unemployment, consumers are under pressure from persistent inflation. Things just cost more, which has eaten into their savings, and higher interest rates mean they're spending more on credit card debt, which could hold them back this holiday season. This has left retailers really cautious and intently focused on not just Black Friday, but also Cyber Monday, which is the big online sales day after Thanksgiving. If sales are strong, the holiday season could prove better than expected, but if they're muted, it could signal a ho-hum, ho-ho-ho season. In Austin, Texas, Tony Waterman reporting for DD India.
Well, the 20th conference of the parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change is set to kick off from November 30th to December 12th. The COP28 agenda outlines a comprehensive framework encompassing diverse themes and initiatives aimed at catalyzing global action to combat climate change. With COP28 on the horizon, the world stands at a critical juncture in the fight against climate change. This gathering in the UAE signifies the collective commitment required to navigate the intricate challenges posed by climate change and forge a sustainable future for all. Meanwhile, Brazil plans to propose a huge fund to pay for the conservation of tropical forest at the United Nations COP28 Climate Change Summit. Brazil's top climate diplomat, Andre Correa do Lago, said Brazil presented the idea of a tropical forest conservation fund on Thursday at a meeting with ministers from 7 other Amazon rainforest countries. He added that it's a conceptual proposal with a view to create a fund to help conserve tropical forests around the world in 80 countries. He further said that the proposal is not finalized and Brazil is seeking support and suggestions from the other rainforest nations. COP28 Climate Change Summit will begin later this month in Dubai. Moving on, Peru's tropical glaciers have dramatically decreased due to climate change, with a decline of 56% in the past 60 years. This loss jeopardizes over 20 million Peruvians who rely on the glacier's water resources. An inventory reported that there are now 2,084 glaciers covering 1,050 square kilometers in comparison to 2,399 square kilometers of ice and snow in 1962. As global temperatures continue to rise, these risking new mountain lagoons at lower altitudes caused by glacier melting pose the threat of flooding. And world leaders will meet in Dubai from November 30th to December 12th for COP28 to assess progress on climate change and discuss plans to achieve the Paris Agreement goals. The International Energy Agency chief outlined 5 conditions for success, including increased renewable investment, energy efficiency and clean energy financing. The UAE's president of the conference called for oil and gas industry participation, urging net zero emissions by 2050 and a commitment to near zero methane emissions by 2030. Ahead of the summit, countries remain divided on fossil fuels phase-outs. And now an update from Uttarkashi, maintaining hope with the 41 workers trapped by the collapse of the tunnel in the Indian state of Uttarakhand. Rescue operations at the Silkyara tunnel experienced a bit delay on Thursday as the drilling machine ran into an iron lattice girder, a structural element of the tunnel which had been buried in the debris and had to be removed manually. Drone technology is also being used in the rescue operations. CEO of Squadron Infra Mining Private Limited informed the media about the latest drone technology being implemented to combat the crisis.
We got a drone-based LiDAR sensors, so which हम monitor कर रहे regularly if how's it going. That's what is. We got this is the latest one of the latest technologies which can go inside the tunnels. It does not need it goes into GPS denied areas, and so it goes autonomous in inaccessible areas, and then you can assess if there is any convergence, any.
And the 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India offers a diverse cinematic experience for attendees. A wide range of films from various countries were showcased on the 4th day of the 54th IFFI. DD India correspondent Shama Mishra reports from Goa.
One of the highlights of the day was the screening of the films in international competition, including Measures of Men, directed by Lars Krom, and The Other Widow, directed by Mayan Rip. Another notable screening on day 4 were of Hakikat and Bisal Baad in the restored classics section. In addition to film screenings, the day also included panel discussions and interactive sessions with renowned filmmakers and industry professionals. There was an in-conversation session with actor Pankaj Tripathi. Another session titled Indian Documentary on World Stage featured Kartiki Gonsalves, R.V. Ramani, among others, and another session held was titled The Road to Oscars, which had the presence of Guneet Monga Kapoor, Carter Pilcher, Rasul Pulkutti and Sonal Kalra.
A platform like this is going to give a lot of empowerment to the new youth, and I'm looking forward to interacting with them, looking forward to parting my little bit of knowledge that I have acquired.
Such a great community of people here that are like-minded and who have goals to just go out and tell great stories, whatever it might be, if it's fiction, if it's documentaries, and I think there's so much potential in a space like this of people coming together.
The gala premiere of Hari Om Hari, a 2023 Gujarati comedy film directed and written by Nisarg Vaidya, was also witnessed. The film stars Siddharth Randeria, Ronak Kamdar, Vyoma Nandi and Malhar Rathod. Overall, Day 4 of the International Film Festival of India in Goa offered a wide range of films from different countries, showcasing the diversity and artistry of global cinema.
Day 4 of the 54th IFFI concludes, and with this we can say that we are halfway into the film festival. Cinebuffs and entertainment lovers have enjoyed the day thoroughly with various masterclasses, in-conversation sessions and screening of movies in the restored classics, Indian panorama, international competition and much more, many other segments. We look forward to Day 5 as it unfolds with many interesting and similar activities. With camera person Sanjeev Sharma, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Goa.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Election campaigning has concluded for the Legislative Assembly elections in the Indian state of Rajasthan on Thursday. The voting is scheduled to take place on November 25th. On the final day of campaigning on Thursday, prominent leaders from all parties vigorously campaigned in support of their candidates. Campaigning is underway in India's southern state of Telangana. Star campaigners in Telangana actively campaigned for candidates of respective parties. India's largest political party, BJP, targeted opponents over dynastic politics, while TRS claimed to address the issue of poverty in Telangana. Indian PM's initiative of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra continues further in Indian state of Assam, which has extended to a couple of newer districts on Thursday. The Yatra made its landfall in Moregaon, Dibrugarh, Hojai and Kokrajhar districts in Assam. In the program, the people were educated about the various benefits which will be provided by the government departments. The nano area spray drone was also displayed on the occasion. And on to sports news now. India beats Australia by 2 wickets in the first cricket T20 international of 5-match series in South Indian city of Visakhapatnam on Thursday. After winning the toss, India opted to bowl first, though an explosive century by Josh Inglis and a 130-run partnership with Steve Smith powered Australia to 208 for 3 wickets. Chasing the target, Indian skipper Suryakumar Yadav scored 80 of 42 balls, while Kishan made 58 of 39 balls. The second match of the series will take place on Sunday. And India's top-ranked men's doubles pair of Suisai-Raj Renkareddy and Chirag Shetty and singles player H.S. Pranoy progressed to the quarter-finals of the China Masters. Asian Games gold medalists Satwik and Chirag defeated Japan's Akira Koga and Taichi Saito 21-15, 21-16 in 46 minutes. In the quarter-finals, the Indian duo will face Indonesia's Leo Rolly Kanando and Daniel Martin. Asian Games bronze medalist Pranoy too made it to the quarterfinals with a straight games win. He beats Denmark's Magnus Johannesson 21-12, 21-18 in 40 minutes. Pranoy next takes on Japan's Kodai Naroke. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Well, let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as this breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.